Coming to you today from an island in Milwaukie, Oregon. I'm going to run you through some pros and cons, and kind of like the thumbnail implies, these are going to be pros and cons that you might not necessarily read online. So if you're thinking about moving to Milwaukie, you'll want to watch this. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Seth Marchett with the Home Team Brokers here. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new to this channel, living in Oregon, and you'd like to see more about what it's like to live in Oregon, make sure and hit the subscribe button, tap the bell, that way you'll be notified every time we drop a new video, which is twice a week. And if you're somebody that's thinking about taking the next steps, as real estate brokers here in the state of Oregon, as much as we like making these videos, we'd love to help you move here. You can call us, text us, email us, or you can even click the link below in the description if you want to get into our calendar and schedule a Zoom with us. That's typically best for people coming from out of state. All right, let's run through some pros and cons. All right, so a lot of these pros and cons videos, people like to start with pros first and then go through the cons, or vice versa. I'm going to go back and forth. I've done it both ways. I'm going to go back and forth this time because I've noticed that sometimes there's a pro or a con that could go both ways, you know? So in this video, we'll probably cover a few of those and let you decide if it's a pro or a con. All right, first pro. And like I mentioned, this is going to be kind of stuff that you won't necessarily read online. This is going to be something that you probably really wouldn't typically know unless you spend a lot of time here, unless you've lived here for a while, commuted, shopping different places, going out to different restaurants. And the first pro I have for Milwaukie is going to be its location. Now, location is not a secret. You can go on a map and you can see that it's very close to Portland, which a lot of people want to be. They want to be close to Portland for the nightlife or the restaurants, or maybe you work down there. But aside from being close to Portland, one thing that's really great about Milwaukie is that the highway that you would take to get to Portland, which is Highway 99 East, it's not very congested. Now, it is one of those highways where you've got a bunch of lights and top speed's probably 45 or 50 in most places, but it's not very congested compared to other highways. And you especially notice this when you're leaving Portland, especially if there's like a big event and it's really congested downtown, like a Blazer game or the Rose Festival, something like that. Everybody that's going home, the people that have to go to the west side, they're taking Highway 26 West. People going east to Gresham and Troutdale, they're taking 26 East or I-84 East. You got people going to Vancouver, Washington, that are taking I-5 North, and then people taking I-5 South to go places like Wilsonville. Those are the big highways that everybody kind of take to get home, and those are always very, very congested. Not just throughout, rush hour or when there's a big event or something like that downtown. Those highways typically get a lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic throughout the day and throughout the week, whereas Highway 99, not so much. And so for that reason, you can get to places very quickly from Milwaukie. So not only is the location great, but the congestion is not nearly as bad as some other places. And the location leads me to what for some people could kind of be a con. This isn't so much my perception. I don't think this is a con or necessarily an issue. This is more kind of like what we hear from people like you. A lot of people that come here for the first time that are kind of getting to know the area, getting a feel for neighborhoods and, driving around town. One thing that people often say is they notice that there's a lot of campers in downtown Portland, people camping on the sidewalks. And they say they really kind of notice that sort of ends when they get to Milwaukie, going from north to south. Or they notice that it begins when they go to Portland, coming from Milwaukie, going from south to north. And the reason why that is because that's where you have the county lines for Multnomah and Clackamas County. Multnomah County being where Portland is, and Clackamas County being where Milwaukie is. And these two municipalities treat street camping differently. So you don't really see it in Clackamas County. You might see a few people here and there, but you see it in a lot of places in Multnomah County. And so a common question that we get from people that are new to this area, that are checking out the area, is what's the deal with all the camping, and is that going to eventually kind of make its way into Milwaukie, since it seems like it's right next door in southeast Portland? I would say the answer is probably no, because like I mentioned, it's a county by county thing. But for people that are concerned about that does seem to be a valid concern. So I would probably put that one in the cons list for some people. Although I will say Portland is probably going to be changing their stance a little bit on that for a couple reasons. They have a new initiative that is designed to remove campers from sidewalks in which they have high traffic for kids walking to school. So kids walking to school are having to walk out on the street to walk around people that are camped on the sidewalk. So dangerous for little kids. So for that reason, they're working on some of those issues. The campers, it's not their fault. They're going to take what they can get and do what they got to do. It's the cities, it's the city that's inept at fixing this problem. So can't put the blame on the campers, but hopefully the city is going to get this resolved sometime in the near future. They say they're working on it. Like I said, the hand has been forced and they have been working on it a little bit. We'll see how that goes. And Portland has just recently been hit with a class action lawsuit in regards to the American with Disabilities Act. The claim being that people with disabilities are not able to get around in Portland the way that they should be because they're impeded so much, specifically by people that are camping on the streets. So you might see Portland change its tune a little bit on that in the coming years. Their hand is kind of being forced, but again, we get a lot of people reaching out to us that ask that specific question, like, hey, I like Milwaukee, but am I gonna have to worry about this sort of coming to Milwaukee and seeping into Milwaukee? I would say no, but valid concern. And one of the bigger pros of Milwaukee is the shopping. You have a lot of great shopping that's really nearby, not necessarily right in Milwaukee, but a lot in Clackamas. Specifically, you have the Clackamas Town Center, you have the Clackamas Promenade, you have a Costco, you do have a Trader Joe's, which Trader Joe's are very popular here in the Portland metropolitan area, a newer Trader Joe's, and pretty much everything that you could want. You have a Lowe's as well, so you're probably not going to have to travel very far for your shopping. All of your groceries and all of your home improvement stuff, all of your home goods stuff, you're going to be able to find just right next door in Milwaukee. Another pro of Milwaukee is they have a lot of great neighborhoods. There's sort of a diversity of neighborhoods. From the area that I'm in right now, which is Island Station, we're right next to the downtown historic Milwaukee. We've got the Lake Road neighborhood, the Omark Industrial Park that separates Lake Road from Llewellyn, Linwood, and the Campbell neighborhood. And with those different neighborhoods, you have a lot of different types of houses here as well too. So a lot of mid-century homes. You do have a little bit of new construction. You have homes that are on the river, of course, a fair amount of riverfront homes here. And all these kind of neighborhoods kind of have their own sort of feel to them. So there's really kind of something for everybody. And that takes me into my next pro, which is affordability. If you look at the surrounding area and you look at Clackamas County, pretty much everything around Milwaukee is going to be more expensive. It's going to be more expensive if you go to the north into Southeast Portland. It'd be more expensive if you go to the east towards Happy Valley. It's even going to be a little bit more expensive if you go south towards Oregon City, and it's especially going to be more expensive if you go across the river to West Linn and Lake Oswego. And Milwaukee is really about the most affordable area. That's a pretty nice area, low crime, good schools area, that's not far from Portland. So Milwaukee is probably one of the best values and certainly the most affordable in the Portland metro area. Now this next one, this is, again, I'll leave it up to you, pro or con. Some people have sort of expressed this as a con, and some people have said, well, the schools in Milwaukee are not the highest rated. And it's true. Happy Valley, Oregon City, West Linn, everything kind of surrounding, everything to the east, the south, and the west, not so much the north, is usually going to have slightly higher rated schools, but Milwaukee High School is still a good school. I know some of you might be shopping on Zillow. People love to shop on Zillow. Zillow uses greatschools.org to rate their schools. I think they have Milwaukee listed at a 3 out of a 10. But at the same time, niche.com, which is what a lot of people use for this information, has Milwaukee listed as a B. So there's a lot of different ways to grade schools, rate schools, aggregate data, count numbers. So it's sometimes hard to know what to make of what you read online for those school ratings. I can tell you, I went to Milwaukee High School. There is also another high school here that some people from Milwaukee will go to, which is Rex Putnam High School. I believe it's rated slightly higher than Milwaukee High School. Their test scores, I think, are probably slightly higher, but both schools are good schools. Definitely better schools, better than average for the Portland metro area. So if you're worried about schools and maybe some of the things that you read online, some people are kind of putting Milwaukee, the schools, as a con. Again, I'll leave it up to you, but I don't think it's a bad school. It's just not quite rated as highly as some of the surrounding schools. Again, mostly south, east, and west. North, that's going to be a different story. One pro of Milwaukee, lots of things to do, lots of parks, lots of places to go. If it's not in Milwaukee, it's very close by, so you're not far from too much. And lots of parks that are just like this, where there's really only a couple people here. And this is a pretty cool park. We're right on the river. You have a handful of places actually throughout Milwaukee with parks that are right on the river. So if you like to get outside, parks, trails, things to do, especially if you like water, that Milwaukee is definitely going to have all the pros there. Another small pro for Milwaukee is it is probably one of the more bikeable suburbs, and has probably more trails or more connecting trails than maybe some of the other surrounding towns in Clackamas County. You do also have the Max too, which is pretty new. The Max didn't used to come to Milwaukee, so that's a pro for some people. I've heard some people say that's a con. Hey, we didn't want a Max line to come into Milwaukee, you know, for whatever reason. So that's one I'll leave up to you, but getting around as far as public transportation in Milwaukee is definitely going to be a pro if you use public transportation. Final little con, Milwaukee, if you're younger, because a lot of younger people are moving to Milwaukee, not a ton of nightlife here. Gonna have to go to Portland or somewhere else close by. The downtown is great, but it's pretty quiet. There's just not a whole lot going on, you know, especially with the nightlife. There's definitely some good restaurants and, you know, there's lots of things to do, stuff to do in the daytime, but your nightlife is going to leave something to be desired if you're a younger person. So you'll be going to Portland for those reasons. Like I mentioned, you're close by though, and congestion is low. So what's the consensus? All in all, Milwaukee is a great spot. A lot more pros than cons. One way I heard Milwaukee described was Milwaukee is the place that you move to when you're having kids and you want to escape the crime and you're priced out of Portland. That's just one person's perspective, but I have sort of seen some similar things. People moving out of Portland due to price, because they can maybe find something a little bit more affordable in Milwaukee, and due to the crime is going to be lower here as well too. Again, Clackamas County versus Multnomah County. Another thing online too, if you look at Milwaukee, and especially if you look at pros and cons, I see a lot of pictures online that are not actually of Milwaukee, that are listed as Milwaukee. If you want to get a better feel for the town, check out our vlog tour, and you can see some drone footage and some driving footage, and that'll give you really a feel for what the town actually looks like. And then finally, when you are doing your stuff online, your research, always remember to spell it with an IE. It's not two E's. That'll get you to Milwaukie, Wisconsin. Milwaukie, Oregon is spelled Milwaukie, not EE. All right, I hope that video helps you to get a better feel for the pros and cons of Milwaukie, Oregon. If you're somebody that's thinking about moving here, if you have questions, you can call, text, or email. And remember, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure and subscribe and hit the bell. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a new video. And if this video helped you, give us a thumbs up, lets us know we're doing a good job. Feel free to leave a comment too, and we'll reply. Take care, everyone.